One Sunday, we saw a house in Watermill out on Long Island, and that was really a quiet place because if West Hampton Beach was 4 hours, that has to have been 5 hours to get out there, 5.5 hours, because that's very close to East Hampton. And we saw this amazing house. I can't describe it. I've forgotten by now what it was. And it said, Andrew Geller. Andrew Geller. I said, we have to call this person Andrew Geller. And so that week, we did. And in a few weeks, he came back with this two diamonds. There were two diamonds. They were standing on end like that. And it was so inexpensive. I mean, it was amazing. And $6,000 to build a house.
The house looks like, well, from the outside, it's two, we refer to it as the double diamond, but in truth, it's the double square. And all it is just two square shapes. I mean, it's very hard to see with my fingers, on their edge. So instead of sitting on the flat part of the square where you have the right angles like this, it's just turned around. And one square next to the other square. And that's all it is.
It was such an incredibly different work of art. It was a work of art, if you don't mind my saying so. I mean, and I think it was exactly that. The house was being constructed. And we saw that it was really so special, but we went with the flow. But then one day I said to him, Andrew, where are the closets? Where are the closets going to be? Because it doesn't seem to be any room. Have you thought about it? He said, oh, sure, I've thought about it. You just take a nail and you hammer on the back of the door, a lot of nails, and then you hang your things on there. Oh my God, Frank Lloyd Wright, all over again.
And the space was also used very, very well, because in those areas at the angles, the very corners, Andrew Geller was able to put storage spaces in there. In my room, the bunk beds, instead of going one on top of the other, you had the lower bunk bed and the bunk bed next to it. So they sort of climbed along the 45-degree angle wall. Well, in terms of the names that people called it, when I was a child, they referred to it as a boat. One person referred to it as a square brassiere, and I don't think I actually knew what a brassiere was back then. But, as children are, they have no real critical judgment, and everything just like went over my head, or I didn't pay any attention to it.
I loved especially seeing people who would drive up, slow the car down, come out, take pictures, and they were awed by it. And they would say, what is this thing? And isn't it wonderful?
I'm so proud of it. I really am. And it's amazing to see your house on the front page of the Southampton Press, or on the front page of the New York Observer, named one of the top 10 houses in the Hamptons. And that's not because it's big and expensive. It's because there's some classic beauty to the house that makes it so special.
We got so much pleasure out of it. We were gutsy. We didn't know what we were getting. We had no idea what we were getting. We just fell in love with what Andrew Geller did in Watermill, and we said, he's the guy. He's the one. And he surely was. And you know what happened then afterwards too? Many of my friends, well, not many, but several of my friends used him for their own houses. And which gave me a lot of pleasure too, and I hope that it made Andrew feel good. I think it did.